I really haven't watched a race this year. I've seen highlights and things that have come up, but I do understand how their background works. I pay attention to their business side. To me, the schedule basically favored the most powerful entity in American motorsports right now, and that's Penske. You saw how most of the shifts favored ISM a lot. It favored a lot of the Penske style investments, and Ford and the rules that go around Ford cars and body styles and all that. You've always seen them be favored towards whatever Penske's on board with. So I saw the corporate move there, and that was to help with the Penske investments more than anything, especially with that IMS shipped up there, and then ISM at the end of the year. Obviously, Indianapolis has a lot of different investors involved there, but it's kind of a hub central area to one of the biggest, in my opinion, scams in motorsports history. You know, Indianapolis Motor Speedway got really greedy back there in the 90s, and they kind of have always been that way. You know, they want to be the one big king dog there. But I think they're doing all they can, like you said. The 2-day show at Pocono, I'm still kind of confused about that. That's a little weird. What are you going to do there? But, I mean, that's not really going to help them. The fact is they have no organically grown drivers because of this young kid, rich kid deal that happens. You know, unlike, Bill Elliott was Awesome Bill from Dawsonville because the whole town of Dawsonville knew who he was on a local racing scene that was respected and well known, and he was a famous person before he even got into a cup ride. Same thing happened with Dale Earnhardt Sr. Same thing happened with all these. Mark Martins from Arkansas, the whole town of Batesville knew who he was, running the short track dirt tracks and ASA. The local racing scene is really where all this spurs from, and that's what creates these drivers that when they go into NASCAR, they have a big fan base. That's why bringing in a Kyle Larson or bringing in a Christopher Bell is way more alluring for NASCAR than bringing in a Haley Deegan. I mean, they have to build Haley Deegan.
Gotcha. We're getting
Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell is coming from World of Outlaws, that fan base, that many people. So it's like,
yeah, but wait a minute.
That's a bigger
Christopher
issue
Bell. Wait a minute. Christopher Bell is already running NASCAR, and me and you had a talk about this during Ocala, during Speed Weeks in February. You feel that he's not going to get a ride in the Cup Series. Why do you feel Christopher Bell is going to get sidelined and not get a Cup ride for at least a couple of years?
I think that the marketing team at NASCAR recognize that they're kind of in a slump. They're looking at different different competitions out there of forms of racing. I think dirt track racing is one of them. I think World of Outlaws is one of the biggest competitors that could take over the national racing scene. And they want to keep guys like Larson and Bell, who are the modern-day Swindell and Wolfgang, away from Kinzer, which is the Donnie Schatz, because that show right there on the World of Outlaw National Tour would be a must-see TV event that the sport would promote as well.
Oh, absolutely.
With those stumps. So I think Christopher Bell has kind of got the carrot in his face, and as well as the fan base of, stay in this Xfinity ride. We'll get you a Cup ride here, and it's not going to happen. And they even snubbed Larson. If you look into that 42 car, it's not a good race car. Even Kenny Wallace got in trouble for speaking up against Ganassi and them for when Larson first came into the sport, which I actually predicted like 2 years in advance when Juan Pablo was in it. I was like, he's going to get in there, but only a few people know about that discussion. But I think they snubbed both guys in a way because Larson's not in a good race car. And Bell's in an Xfinity ride, and they're going to probably move up these other guys or gals or Haley Deegan's, who's on the TRD trip too. I mean, there's only so many rides up here in this NASCAR National Series. So it's not like everybody's going to get a good car, and it's not like there's only 40 great race car drivers. So I think that's what they're doing. They're snubbing those guys. They're keeping them from the World of Outlaws Series. They're tying them up in money. These guys are picking money over love or passion or whatever you want to call it. They're doing what they can, all that. But that's what I think NASCAR is doing. They're buying those guys and keeping them away from running World of Outlaw Sprint Car Tour full-time, which would be the number one threat to NASCAR's motorsports dominance in America.
Definitely. All right, we've got about a half hour remaining. We're going to take another time out and thank our sponsors, our corporate sponsors, as Chaz calls them. But got a comment, though, bud. If we put national races on dirt, don't we got to have corporate sponsors, honestly?
If you have the fan influence, you don't have to. You don't have to. It used to work that way all the time. Like I said, we used to have zero NASCAR affiliation. We had corporate advertisers, but they did it to advertise. They didn't do it to make the races bigger or make the races pay more. The fans dictated that. We could have so much more money pumping into this sport if more people knew about it and respected the drivers. It's a big deal to respect the drivers as top national talents, not a lower level or lower form talent.
I got Chaz, but how are the fans? I love the racing fans. I do. I love the dirt track racing fans, asphalt racing fans, NASCAR fans, drag racing fans, whatever. How are the fans going to pay for that type of marketing, for that type of broadcasting? And you got to have those corporate dollars that they can bring to the industry to make it be paid for. If the Outlaws or All-Star Circuit of Champions or Lucas Oil or Ultimate Super Late Model Series or Fast Track was on national television circuit, ASCS, USCS, whatever, besides those cable networks we've got them on now, why are you saying that you think the fans are going to pay for it when you got to have those corporate dollars? And sadly, in today's generation, buddy, those fans don't have it. It's all they can do to go to a race nowadays.
Well, the best advertisement is word of mouth, but I do see what you're saying. For any national media outlet to pick it up and put it on a CBS or ABC, the main reason it's syndicated and you can't cuss is advertisers and their 30-second spots. That's how the Super Bowl makes so much money. You got to have some kind of advertisers, I guess, on board. You got to have some people involved, but I think that right back to the supply and the demand, you still got to have enough people liking it and wanting to see it for it to even get that attention to where corporate sponsors will want to be on it for advertising and not ownership. So, yes, you still have to have corporate investors, I guess, or involvement if you want to have your cars or series or whatever on TV. Just for the simple fact of the advertisement commercial segments, which is how the stations make all their money.
And so, speaking of that, we got to take a time out.
Involved. But I think the first step to that, is with the fans first, the demand first, before we worry about the supply of the corporational support. We have to get people wanting to see it, or you'll go down this NASCAR track where it's really not about fans. It's about corporations getting on there and funding them and even keeping them on television.
Gotcha. Chaz, we're going to take another time out, buddy. Stand by. According to commercials, as he says, we got to have those corporate dollars. We got to thank our sponsors, more with Finish Line and Chaz Thompson, Dirt Track State of Mind, here in a moment.
This is Finish Line.
Getting involved in the motorsports industry, late models, helmets, modifieds, doesn't matter. Need to have a wrap job done? Then let All About Wraps take care of you. All About Wraps strives to offer our clients with fast, affordable service from go-karts to the national touring level and everything in between. Wraps on race cars, design services, and promotions. There's no job that they can't do to make your vehicle be on the cutting edge of looking great. Race wraps are starting at just $500. Contact All About Wraps today, and let's see what they can do for your racing team. Call them up at 410-903-3302 or send them an email at allaboutwraps@hotmail.com. All About Wraps.
This is Kate Dillon from RacingInsider.com and host of the Racing Insiders podcast. You are listening to my awesome friend,
it'll be done here in 30 minutes.
Now back to Finish Line.
All right, welcome back to the program. It is Finish Line. Wesley Outland back here with you as we are in our final segment here. We're going to go to the top of the hour, and it seems like just as fast as it starts, it does fly by. We are coming up on, the 2-hour mark. Just about 25 minutes remaining. We're back here with Chaz Thompson of Dirt Track State of Mind, Inslide the Dirt. You can check out all of his cool features. And again, Chaz, I'm not knocking you, buddy. From one colleague to another in this industry, there are some things that you do that I really like. There's things that I like with the driver spotlights you do and the things that you do with the track presentations, highlighting tracks, highlighting series sanctioning bodies. How do you feel about being banned by certain racetracks, being banned by certain sanctioning bodies? Obviously, World of Outlaws comes to mind. And why do you feel like they're just not getting it and they're punishing you? Why do you feel like the sanctioning bodies have it out for you now and they're punishing you?
I think I say a lot of things that their interests may slightly not agree with. I think, it is just as the mainstream response is I'm just a Facebook page. I'm not a website or a credible media, which makes me want to never get a website because, social media is the future. If you want to reach people and get the sport out to new ears and new eyes, that's going to be one of the main ways to do it. Without social media, I personally think dirt track racing would be in the dumps right now. We would be solely dependable on mainstream giving us any attention to regular people. At least with social media, we can reach regular people with a $20 ad or something like that with Facebook.
Okay, so wait a minute, but you got some people that feel that doing the pay-per-view and the dirt on dirt or speed shift productions is hurting the racing industry.
I don't necessarily. If they didn't put out highlights afterwards, dirt on dirt really doesn't. I don't want to hurt on them too much because I think dirt on dirt says a lot.
Yeah.
They do a lot for the sport, and they really like, I may not want to say it publicly, but the guys up in there, dirt on dirt, really like what I have to say, and they kind of emulate it. A lot of the stuff I hear them say sometimes, it's pretty close to what I'm saying. So, that is the one block, though, to kind of shift a side gear here or push in the clutch. That would be the one entity to kind of not really want mainstream media, corporate media to get involved because that is kind of their lifeline. They make a living on it, and they need to get paid for what they're doing. And let me tell you, I'm all for people who have earned their way. And I think every one of these speed shifts and dirt on dirt, they've all made it themselves. They've all made it their way. They built it up from the ground, kind of like a MAV TV, but just on a smaller online scale.
Right.
So I would be upset a little bit if mainstream corporate media just came in and slapped them out of the way.
And listen, and Chaz, I will agree with you though, buddy. I will agree with you on that. I believe that we are in the cutting edge of where television, and again, that's what gets me about that whole corporate TV, corporate dollars, getting these big dirt shows on national TV. I think within the next 10 years or so, television is going to become obsolete. When do I really watch television anymore? Who really does watch television anymore? Honestly, unless you're just a couch potato and stay at home. And if you do, we have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have, all of the racing entities where you can watch races or watch highlights and replays. There's so many different avenues. Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, where you don't watch local television anymore. So I can say that I agree with you on where internet television or internet broadcasting is podcasting, iHeartRadio, Tuned In, SoundCloud. They are the cutting edge future of entertainment for people to watch and listen to things.
Yeah, I've even heard that Twitch is coming up too. I heard that's what a lot of the younger crowd is into big time is the Twitch. That kind of goes into gaming. I don't even want to get started on iRacing, but no, it's a very interesting thing. I don't think those entities hurt the sport at all. That was the original question. Let's try not to get too off topic, but
right.
I don't think they hurt. I don't think they hurt the sport at all. If they were not releasing, the next day, recap or something like that, because most people look at cable television or national television as free. They look at regular TV's kind of always been free. If you got a little antenna for $5.95, you can watch 4, 5, 8, or whatever your channels are, ABC, CBS, Fox.
Right.
So,
and even today, Chaz, you can't watch it on analog television anymore. You got to have a digital TV box connector thing to be able to watch it.
Still, it is free. It still is then free.
Right. But
essentially.
Right, but what I'm saying, though, is if I have a television back when I was a teenager and I tried to plug it up today to watch television, I couldn't watch the damn thing if I don't have that connector thing to make it into a, connect the thing to make it digital from analog to digital, to have digital television. Bottom line.
I agree, and I think that some of the prices for dirt on dirt and speed shift and all this that are kind of high for the average guy or whatever, it's not as much as a ticket. But back to supply and demand, I think that there were a lot of people trying to watch this stuff that they can lower the pricing to watch.